Hello everybody, welcome to Nature's People. Thank you for tuning in. In today's video I'm going to talk about an interesting topic, which is why is the immigration crisis in Europe going to fail Europe? Why is Europe going to decline due to its failed immigration process? Alright, first and foremost, I have to say that in the past 20 years, the last 2 decades, the European immigration has been really a catastrophe. We've been seeing a high rise in people crossing the Mediterranean Sea up to the shores of Europe, Sicily, and all these regions of Italy, and subsequently moving higher north to France and UK and all these other countries. Now, one of the things I have to say is that one of the things that that strengthens countries is the immigration processes. There are a lot of countries that manage the immigration with its depending on their own purposes or their own targets. And one interesting thing about certain countries is that they always try to proof check and proofread the immigration to make sure it has benefits, or it brings back results over the long run. For the case of Europe, unfortunately, I was looking at an article. It was saying nearly 70% of all the migrants that came to Germany in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, Germany took over a million immigrants from many regions, but mostly Turkish, and that resulted in a catastrophe because you cannot bring so many people at the same time and expect to integrate them, because they have their own customs, their own ways of living, their own thought processes, and it's a thing that you have to break down and build it back up. From the migrants that have been coming from the shores of Italy, most of them are from sub-Saharan Africa. I have nothing against immigration. I only think it should be something that is done the right way. And if people do it the wrong way, the countries that are receiving those immigrants, they have to try to make sure they sort of correct it, or they integrate these people who entered the wrong way. Because either you came the right way or the wrong way, you have to integrate. And one of the things that Europe has been failing to do is to integrate the people. I want to talk about the US specifically, and how the US has been successful in integrating immigrants in its society and making sure they live in a comfortable and happy and work. One of the most beautiful things about the US, unlike all these other nations, is that the US has an endless pool of jobs. The US, just the past year, 2022, saw a record high number of employment vacancies. So there were 12 million job vacancies that were supposed to be filled with workers to work, which is very beneficial for the economy. Europe, on the other hand, doesn't seem to have that much job vacancies, and for the few jobs that are there, they are taken by the natives, and immigrants, be them legal or illegal, find it tough to get it and make it through. Now the question is, why is Europe having lower employment rates? Well, that's a controversial question. However, my perspective and my point on that is because Europe in general doesn't invest much in innovation and in development, such as the US does. The US, if I'm not mistaken, invests nearly 4% of its GDP into research and development. That's a very high number. Just for you to take a perspective, countries that are so much productive, such as South Korea, invest nearly 2.7% of their GDP just in research and development. One of the interesting things about R&D is that it doesn't have there's no profit in it. It's just the government pouring our money without expecting anything back, just under the presumption that things might resolve or end up paying back. With that being said, there are a lot of factors that contribute to Europe's decline.